How's it going, Tremaine? As you
Good.
guys are kind of preparing for this week one matchup, have you been watching like a lot of JJ McCarthy preseason film, watching Sam Darnold? What's kind of been like the process so far?
Yeah, obviously the week is just really getting started. We just finished off last week, so we was really focusing on ourselves last week. But I think just for me and just as far as the team as well, obviously you watch a little bit of preseason. You may look at a little bit of stuff from last year as well, but it's always kind of hard going against a new quarterback just because they don't have a lot of film out there. So we just got to take, little things that we pick up here and there and, things that may have carried over from whether it's preseason, whether it's last year. A lot of, they still have some of the same guys. So even if you studying guys versus, tendencies and like what they like to do, because obviously going into a new year, playing against, new people, it's not going to be the same. So, studying Sam Darnold isn't going to be the same as studying, JJ. So it's like, it's a little bit different. But, the first game, first couple of games, obviously going against new quarterbacks and stuff like that, you're going to come across new things. So you got to trust your technique and trust your fundamentals and trust what you do as a defense as a scheme was.
Pat Finley.
Hey, Tremaine, what was your reaction when you saw that Micah Parsons was getting traded to the Packers?
Honestly, man, I'm worried about what we got going on here in Chicago. We got a lot of, good things going on. We got a big game coming up. So honestly, my more of my focus was geared towards, what I got to do, and what we have to do as a team to make sure we come out victorious on Monday.
Do you look at this division as the best in football? It obviously had the best record last year, and now to add somebody like him, I would assume only makes it better.
It's definitely a highly competitive division. I would say for sure. I've been a part of, divisions that was tough before, but, it's definitely some of the top teams in the league, in this division. So it's going to be hard fought games. And just the characteristics of the teams that's in this division, you know what I mean? Hard nose and just a lot of grit, you know what I mean? So definitely highly competitive. But that's what you play this game for, man. You play this game to go against those type of teams. You play this game to be in those type of games. And so I wouldn't have it any other type of way. Just as far as, putting your best foot forward each and every week. That's what we work so hard for to, play against the best. So, I'm excited to, get this ball rolling this week.
And to start the season against a divisional opponent, those are some real stakes, aren't they?
Say it again.
To start the season against a divisional opponent, like those are real stakes in terms of where you guys are going to stand by the end of the year, right? Do you like jumping into a division rival right away?
Yeah, that's I'm not the one to make the schedule. That's what our schedule says, man. So we got to do the best. We got to do our best job, making sure that we're ready. Because at the end of the day, it's always been that winning your division gives you the best chance, of getting in that dance at the end of the year. Obviously that's a long ways away for us, but like you said, this is a divisional opponent starting at week one, so it's definitely a lot of stakes at it, and we just got to put our head down and work. You know what I mean? Not get too high, not get too low. Take it one day at a time for sure.
Alex Shapiro.
Hey, Tremaine, you mentioned that the Vikings, still got a bunch of the same guys on offense, even if you might not know about JJ McCarthy and the tendencies and all that. With Aaron Jones specifically, he was pretty successful against you guys last year in both games. What made him so successful in those two games against you last year? And do you look at that and be like, okay, how do we take care of Aaron Jones first and foremost, week one here?
Yeah, I think Aaron Jones is a good player. He's been a good player in this league for a while now. We've came across each other a couple times, even going back in his Green Bay days. So got a lot of respect for him. But like I said, man, we haven't really got into deep into the game plan yet. Obviously we got to do a good job of, you know, knowing who their guys are and doing a good job of, making sure that we understand and have awareness where they are on the field and, how they're trying to attack us. I think as the week progresses, we'll dive a little bit more into the game plan and we'll see exactly the approach that we want to have towards each guy.
And then starting Monday Night Football, is there like a little benefit there? Like, okay, we get that extra day and we can prepare for Monday night, or is it something like, hey, we just want to play Sunday at noon instead of waiting for everybody else to play and then we go on the national spotlight.
Yeah, I think anytime you can play prime time, like I said earlier, that's what you play this game for. You want the whole world to see, all the hard work you put into it individually and as a team. You know what I mean? Like we've been working hard to be able to display our talents. And what other way, what other way would you want to have it? You know what I mean? Open up the season Monday night front of the whole world against a divisional opponent. I mean, this is what you work your tail off for, to be in these moments, to be in these games. And it doesn't matter if it's week one or whenever it is, you know what I mean? This is our opportunity to go out there and really just show the world, what we've been doing, our hard work that we've been putting into it. You know what I mean? We know it's not going to be easy, but nothing worth having is easy. So, we just got our head down. We got to work. Still some time until that game gets here. So there's a lot of work to be put in until then.
Mark
Thanks,
Grody.
Hey, Tremaine, it would appear that you've had a particularly good camp this year. I think 3 or 4 interceptions so far this year. Have you been at all reignited this year with a new defensive coordinator and a slightly new scheme, and even kind of being challenged a little bit with TJ Edwards at the mic a little bit more?
I mean, my approach each time I step on the field is the same way. Obviously we always strive for perfection. You know, if we're gonna get perfection, that's one thing, but I've always been a guy that's my standard, and I always hold myself to that standard. You know what I mean? But obviously sometimes things don't always go the way that you want it to go, whatever it may be. I think just my whole approach is always just to have my head down and keep grinding. You know what I mean? And we could say is this, say is that, but my approach is to put my head down and keep working. I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think it's a mixture of, guys coming out each and every day and making each other better, holding ourselves to that high regard, keeping each other accountable, and really just going out there and ball. You know what I mean? That's been my mindset, to go out there and ball, go out there, be a playmaker, be a difference maker. And I was able to find a ball a couple times, able to make some plays out there. So definitely had a confidence level going into it. And like I said, man, I'm still putting the work in, getting ready for this week. So carry over that stuff that happened in camp, and just carry over a lot of the things that we talked about as a defensive unit, and really just carrying over that into the game. Just figuring out ways to be playmakers, figure out ways to help our team win.
Phil Thompson.
Thank you, Tremaine. I wanted to ask, in your career, do you notice anything unique about Dennis Allen's overall philosophy, and in particular, how he plans to use you that may be different than what you've experienced in your career?
Like I said, we haven't necessarily got into game planning. A lot of my stuff would be, kind of vague, just as far as, how camp has been. Camp is one thing, but obviously when you start game planning, you start like really, you know, putting into how you want to execute a game plan. We haven't got into that yet. So obviously it's still areas that we're figuring out as a defense, just as far as, putting guys in position to make plays, and, just doing what's best for the team. I've been open-minded, and particularly for myself, just as far as, what the coaches may see. So I think it's really just, player and coach working together. And at the end of the day, we're gonna do what's best for the team, just as far as putting each and every guy. And I'm not just talking about myself, I'm talking about just the whole defense in positions to win. And just his philosophy, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people has talked about it throughout the camp, just as far as, what he expects from us. I think it just goes back to, even his time he had in New Orleans. Obviously been a part of some good defenses. I've even watched from afar, just when they was having those good years. And I mean, when you turn the film on, you could just kind of see, things that he talk about, things that we preach each and every day into our meeting room. So I think just a lot of that stuff is carrying over. And I think guys are adapting to that well. Guys are buying in. And, once you buy in, I mean, that's the biggest part, getting guys to be like, okay, yeah, I see what they got going on, and, I want to be a part of that. So, we got everybody bought in, man, and it'll be special to see what happens.
Dan Wiederer.
Tremaine, when you're facing a young, inexperienced quarterback, what have you learned over the years about trying to I guess, set a tone early and make a guy like that uncomfortable quickly?
Yeah, I think you want to definitely do that. Like I said, I think more than anything, man, it's that's a factor. But at the end of the day, we got new regimen here as well. So I think in particular those first couple of games, you just got to make sure that you're focusing really on yourself. You know what I mean? It's really never obviously it's about the opponent, but at the end of the day, it comes back to yourself. Comes back to what are we doing well as a defense? What are we doing well as a team? Things areas that we know we want to get better with at camp. We have, like you said, somebody had mentioned about playing Monday night. We got an extra day here to really go over that and, get things cleaned up. But I think more so the focus is more so just making sure that we execute well as a defense. You know what I mean? Understanding everything that's at stake, just as far as, first game, going against a new quarterback that hasn't played yet. It's just a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, it's not more so focusing on him. It's more so focusing on us and making sure that we execute and doing the things that we know how to do.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Tremaine.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
appreciate y'all.
Drew, how about camp is done, preseason is over, and now you're starting the season. Your Bears career starts with a bang on Monday Night Football. What are you thinking? What are you feeling about that right now?
Yeah, excited. As you said, I mean, we feel like we've had a really good camp, working hard and making progress. So I feel like we got a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum going into the season. And yeah, looking forward to it. And I think it'll be a great environment.
All right. Oh, sorry. Josh Buchalter.
I'm curious, what's been your early impressions of, and how's your relationship grown working next to Joe?
I'm sorry, that the question was a little fuzzy. Could you say that again?
Just trying to figure out how your relationship has grown with Joe and what you may have grown and learned from him as you guys have gone through training camp together.
Yeah, it's been great. Joe's been an awesome teammate, awesome resource, all those things. I feel like just all his experience, and he's just seen every look, seen it all multiple times, and so like his takes on what's important, how you attack certain looks, how you handle certain pressures, things like that, has been really good, and as well as just being a great teammate and a good role model.
Pat Finley.
The biggest story this weekend in football was that Micah Parsons trade. I'm curious what you thought when you saw he was coming to your division.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I heard some guys talking about it, but I didn't see it. Like I haven't kept up with any of the media really well. But yeah, I mean, great player and all that, so it'll be a good challenge and everything. But honestly, right now, I feel like we're so 1 week at a time that's very much on the back burner, and we're focused on Minnesota, and so we'll handle all those things kind of when they come.
When you came to the Bears, what did you make of the division in general? I think last year it was considered generally the best division in football.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, every player in the NFL, I feel like is really good. So I feel like I have a lot of healthy respect for everybody. So like, certainly when you look at back, there are divisions that were maybe stronger than others. But yeah, I feel like every team's great, every player is good out there. So again, yeah, we're respecting everybody, working hard, and preparing the best we can for every opponent.
Herb Howard.
Drew, when it comes to some of the pre-snap penalties and just the overall operation of it, do you feel like that stuff will kind of naturally kind of go away now that you guys have gotten away from trying to digest the entirety of the playbook and now you're just game plan specific on the Vikings?
I think I don't know if it'll naturally go away. I think it's something that takes our direct effort and focus, and it's certainly something that we have been working on and will continue to work on throughout the year. It'll never be a finished product or anything like that. But we certainly have improved and will continue to improve and focus on those things. And I know guys have been really doing a good job on kind of narrowing our focus on what the issues are, what we need to work on, all that. So that's been a really good thing to see as we progress through camp.
Dan Wiederer.
Drew, since you got here, there's been kind of talk of how you could take some things off Caleb's plate to help him play faster. What are some of those things that you think you've been able to kind of alleviate that's going to allow him to be at an optimal level?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's without getting into any kind of scheme specifics or anything like that. We've done a really good job of communicating with each other and letting each other know like what's helpful, what's not helpful, what kind of things he really likes to hear from me, and what things we need to hear from him. And so that stuff has been really good, kind of learning the flow of information at the line of scrimmage, and then just the offense as a whole runs really well when all of us are communicating. And so that's been a focus is like the O line relaying everything we need to know, and then the quarterback relaying back and all that. So I feel like that's been really improving and it's been good.
Phil Thompson.
That's true. I wanted to ask, I think a lot of times with camp, the running game comes out a little ahead of schedule versus the passing game. Do you see that with your team? Just kind of your sense of how things are progressing on both facets of the offense.
Um, I I feel like I'm probably a bad person to ask for that. Like we're I feel like we have so much focus and importance placed on every practice that I feel like my thoughts kind of reset each day. Like we might have a good day and I'm like, oh yeah, we're really, things are progressing, and then have a poor day in the running game or the passing game or something, and you kind of feel like you're, back to working on that a bit more. So I feel like like high level, I'm not really sure. But I do know that we're putting in a lot of work. And so we should have some confidence in both.
Alex Shapiro.
Hey, Drew, as you were kind of talking about earlier, you have a pretty unique relationship with Caleb. So I'm just curious from your perspective, from day one of training camp when, you guys are having trouble getting out of the huddle, lining up, and then all those improvements throughout the summer, like what's an area in which you think Caleb has really improved the most or noticeably throughout training camp now getting ready for week one?
Mhm. Yeah, I think well, I guess first thing would be that falls on everybody's shoulders. I don't think that's just Caleb or any one person or anything. But I do think Caleb's confidence in the huddle and all the things that when you first start out, you have a lot of things in your mind, and so it's hard to focus on any one thing. And then the more reps you get, the more things become a bit more unconscious, and you kind of rattle them off quicker. And so I think that stuff is progressing. And then from just a whole unit perspective, we all are doing a better job of knowing exactly where we need to be, and so we can make those things more efficient. So I feel like the group as a whole is doing a good job.
Two more. Pat Finley. Pat, you're muted. There you go.
What is this, 2020? Sorry about that. Drew, as somebody who had a rookie quarterback last year, what's the level of nerves that goes into the first game for somebody who's never started in the NFL before, and what did you try to do to kind of make things easier?
I think just focusing on, like, it may be a bit cliche, focusing on one task at a time. Like on any given play, there's, you got a whole sequence of let's get the play correct for all of us. Let's all get lined up correctly. Let's all remember the snap count. Like every player on the field, I feel like when you break your job down into individual tasks like that, and you can kind of rattle them off, so you can quickly kind of develop a rhythm throughout the game. So I think just for young players as well as for all players, I think it's finding that groove of putting your focus on the right thing at the right time, and that just kind of progresses. So I think we'll all be talking about that. We'll all be working through it as the season begins. So I think that'll be helpful.
Last question, Nick.
Drew, when it comes to Caleb Williams, how much flexibility does he have to change plays at the line of scrimmage? Is that something that he's allowed to do at this point? And obviously, you guys are still learning this offense, but how much flexibility, I guess, is there right now with him?
Probably, I feel like that's a bit scheme specific. So I probably won't comment on that one. But yeah, we're poised and ready to handle whatever we need.